deer. So all the animals, all the antelope we have, all of them have horns. Sometimes males and females have horns, but most of the time only the boys have horns and the girls don't. Well, let's keep on searching. We're now right down in the south of Djuma. Let's have another look now quickly for Haven, who would like to know why are there stripes on the impala's tail. Whoop, there we go. Now, you guys get ticks in the USA. We also get ticks here. And those black dark areas are to try draw the ticks away from its softer areas. So that black helps to draw the ticks away from its nether areas. There we go. That's why there's stripes there. I just got to be on the Game Drive radio quickly. Copy, Rex. Where are those in Konzo? Where would on Gari Main heading west at the moment? Where would you like me to check? So Rexon's just found footprints of leopards with 2 babies. So I'm going to go see if we can help him find those leopards. Copy. Thanks, Rex. I'm about to cross Moati. Okay, so it's a very, very exciting. We're going to go look for a female leopard whose name is Karula, and she is our dominant female, so she holds territory, and she's got 2 cubs that are, what are they now, 9 months, nearly 10 months old. So it'd be very exciting if we can find them. I love spending time with that leopard family. Well, it's been great to have not 1, not 2, but 3 schools with us today. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and we hope to have you back on live safari soon. But I hope the rest of your school day has been as fun as this has been for us, and a toodaloo for now. So welcome everyone, and isn't it great we're able to educate people from all over the world in schools. It is a very special thing and a great responsibility for us, one that we accept with relish. Now, of course, there's lots of you going to be wondering about what's happening with the lions. I'm going to give you a quick brief update, and remember, we can't speculate. We're just going to have to wait to find out what happens. So as you saw, there were only 4 Inkahuma cubs, and 2 have died, and their carcasses have been collected and have been sent away for testing. So as soon as we know, we will let you know immediately. Now, it is very sad, but so far everything is pointing towards a natural disease, not one that has been brought in by human beings or whatnot. But as I said, we can't be 100% sure. That's just what it looks like so far. And hopefully those other 4 cubs that we've seen there, they look relatively healthy, they look good. Hopefully they're not going to be affected by that disease. Now, excitement. Karula's tracks have come back from the south. Rexon spotted them, so we're going to go give him a hand. Now we're heading east from the old roadworks quarry, which is probably about 2 kilometers up ahead. So I'm going to check to make sure she hasn't done a Queen Karula and snuck back to the south, and I'm keeping my eye out. Hopefully we're going to have a little leopard luck. It feels like I've spent so much time with lions over the last while, I've forgotten what a leopard looks like. Now I think while we look for Queen Karula, Oh, Rexon's getting hold of me. Copy, Rex. I'll check from Weaver's Nest to Treehouse. Okay, so Rex has given me a job where to check. But while we go checking, I think it's time for a nearly impossible tree quiz. Ha ha. Now let's see. Oh, hang on. Before we nearly impossible tree quiz, let's just binocular. Oh dear, my binoculars have caught on the radio. Just give me a split second here. Here we go. That one, not that radio, the other one. So many radios here. Ha! Voila. A bush. Yeah, I just thought I saw something lying under the bush up ahead. I thought, oh, could it be? Could we be so lucky that it is Queen Karula? Now, a nearly impossible tree quiz. Doom, 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 doom. Let's see what tree we can find for you. It can't be too easy, because otherwise in a split second you guys have got it right. Come on, where's a tree that's got leaves? I think it's a bit unfair to ask you one without leaves. Or is it? Well, I think maybe we should start with a slightly easier one. Aha, there we go. Let's start with this one. And then we can always work our way to a more difficult one. There we go. It's one of the elephant's favorite foods. It's got a bipinnate compound leaf and big thorns. If you know what tree this is, let me know by using the hashtag #SafariLive or pop an email to questions@wildearth.tv. There we go. Look at the young branches. Oh, we can hear lightning in the distance. I mean, not lightning. Can't hear lightning. We can see lightning. We can hear thunder in the distance. And there we go. Let's see how quick you guys are today. And while we continue to look for the Queen of Djuma, Karula, I think James has found something smelly.
Well, we have found something smelly, everybody, and I do warn you that this is not particularly delightful to look at. But I'm going to ask you to suspend your disgust and enjoy the sighting with me, because it is very interesting from a biological point of view. I do warn you, it's pretty disgusting. Now, many of you would have been following the fate of this buffalo. This buffalo, of course, is in fact dead. It is not alive, is it, Brian?
No.
Why? How do we know that?
Because it's not breathing.
It is not breathing, that is correct. Also, it is not chasing us, which indicates that it is not, in fact, alive. Now, everyone, what is interesting here, yesterday, many of you would have seen it, Steph came here and there were maggots all over the place and there was still quite a lot of moisture. Now it looks like that moisture is all finished and we're just left with the hard sort of leather of the skin that has been partly eaten away, and there is none of that really sort of, I don't know, what would we say, tar-like black gunk coming out of this buffalo anymore. The flies have gone and so have all of the maggots. Well, just about. There are one or two left, and there are a few beetles around the place. Now, what's interesting is this thing, I think we found about 2 weeks ago. It had died in the water down at Buffelshoek Dam. It was then dragged here by a tractor and left. And what's fascinating is that until last night, no predators had come here at all, other than the avian scavengers, so the vultures had been to have a go, and obviously the flies, you can describe them as predators as well. Then, last night, a hyena came here. I'm assuming it was a hyena. It opened up the rib cage and it's bitten off the ribs. It's had some very nice buffalo rib there. It's cleaned off the sort of sinew, although I doubt there was much left. I'm sure most of it would have disappeared. And then it came around this side to the nose, and as Brian showed you earlier on, the nose has now been kind of chewed off, and what we're left with is a whole lot of teeth on the ground. These are the incisors from the bottom jaw. They used to go in this hole over here. Can you see this hole, Brian? There are the teeth, and there's the hole. You'll notice I'm not touching this with my hands. Herbert said to me, as if I needed any warning, he said, do not touch this with your hands, and I quite agreed with him. I thought that was a very good idea. And of course, the buffalo only has incisors on the bottom teeth. Very good. And when I look at the horns of this buffalo, that this buffalo was not particularly old when he died. He wasn't necessarily sort of on his last legs, but I think the drought and disease that came with the drought probably knocked him out. The reason I paused there is some quite interesting ticks still trying to eat off him, and I suspect they're going to struggle to find any form of nutrition. Look at these rather interestingly coloured golden yellow ticks. Again, not something I'm going to pick up with my hands. Paul, you say it looks like it's mummified. That's precisely what's happened. It's just kind of rotted on its own. And that's so unusual out here. And I think that there's a much wider story to tell about this buffalo and about the lions that have been eating the buffalo, and the reason that this buffalo and many of the others that have been killed have not been eaten. And I think you'll find that that story has got quite a lot to do with the fact that there's a disease in these buffaloes. Well, there are probably many diseases in them. They've eaten very poorly over the last almost 6 months, and that means diseases are starting to take hold. This carcass was rejected outright by lions came past here. There must have been leopard coming past here. Hyena as well, first time last night after 14 days. 1 or 2 vultures had a go at it, but that was all. And I think that the wider story is one that, of course, we've seen played out with the Nkuhumas, a very sad story of the cubs now falling prey to what we think is something called white muscle disease, which is precisely from eating a diseased and nutrient-deficient buffalo. The mothers are not producing the milk with the selenium and vitamin E that they should be, and the cubs are therefore struggling. And so it's quite a wide and interesting drought story that we've been telling. Right, that is the buffalo. Brian, would you like to spend any longer here at all, ever?
No.
No, because the smell is...
It's horrendous.
The smell is horrendous. Okay, good. Let's carry on. Herbie, should we head this way? Right, Herbert says we should go this way. So we'll pop off here and we'll go and have a quick look at the dam and see if there's anything drinking water. Well, because that's all there is to drink in the dam, really, isn't there, Brian? Yeah. Yes, it's not exactly a bush pub. All right, we're about 50 meters from the dam. Let's head across to Brent to get an update from him, and we'll see you there if there's anything there.
Well, no sign of the Queen of Djuma just yet, but there has been this wonderful burst of sunlight to warm us up. But there's a very big storm that was hiding amongst those clouds. And we're starting to see the top of it coming through now. I mean, look at that. It is always awesome to have light, nice bright sunlight with a dark sky coming in. Makes for some beautiful scenery. Now, the only thing that could make it better is if we put Karula, Hosana and Shongile with that backdrop behind them. There's a monkey track. That is not what we're looking for. So it was not a weeping wattle, it was indeed an acacia, Patricia. What's what Patricia said, acacia. But I would like to know which acacia. Okay. So her last tracks were coming through this sort of way. So I'm going to head down towards Twin Dams or Elephant Carcass area, and their tracks of the cubs are with her as well. So fingers crossed she's made a kill, and we're going to find her languishing in a nice large tree near the Mawati River. Okay. Always look carefully around these areas. You never know if she's stashed the cubs in one of the little river systems that are around here. This is the one that goes from Treehouse Waterhole down towards the Mawati. and a very firm favorite of karula. Gosh, karula. What track is that? It is Howard the hyena. It is not the royal lady. Okay. I've got a funny feeling that she might be close to the Mawati. I don't know. If I don't have any really good tracks to go on, quite often how I find animals is I try to think like an animal, and I go on my gut instinct, and my gut instinct says we should check the Mawati. So everyone, we're now thinking like Queen Karula. So we're thinking like Karula. I'm going to stop, pop my head up, see if there's any impala around. Nah, nothing. Carry on. Okay. Karen would like to know, is it a white thorn acacia? It is not, Karen, but that is getting closer. So we're still being Karula, walking down here. What did I hear? Could it be? I thought I heard coming from somewhere around here. So they have woodlands kingfishers have been seen close to us, just to the south of us on Chitwa Chitwa. Oh, and I've almost forgot. Wonderful news. I spoke to Yors on the radio, and young Sindile has been seen just about a kilometre to the east of our boundary. What's that? Some Inyala. Now they're looking quite alert. Now I don't know if they've spotted Rexon, who's tracking in the block. I'm hoping they'd rather spotted Karula. Nothing yet, Rex. I'm just following up on some squirrel and a goa bird alarm calls close to the Mawati elephant carcass. Okay, well, we're going to keep searching for the Queen, and you guys are going to have to keep thinking about what that tree is. And while we do that, let's go back to James, who's sitting next to a waterhole.
I'm sitting, everybody, on a peninsula overlooking the great Buffelshoek Lake, and here I am meditating at the magnificence of the western horizon. The sun now beginning to peep through the clouds there. You can see the horizon is something spectacular. There is an enormous storm blowing in from the south here. It is bearing with it thunder. Thankfully no lightning yet, but of course if there is lightning I shall simply stand next to Brian, who is 6'4" and with a big pole on the back, and so I should be safe standing next to him. There's nothing else going on here. A couple of birds. We've got I spotted it, the wood sandpiper was here somewhere, but now it seems to have absconded. Anyway, that's one of the first migrant birds to come along here. Then we also had a couple of blacksmith lapwings. They also seem to have gone off. And one lonely Egyptian goose from the pair of the most incompetent parents, of course, that we've seen at Djuma. They lost all 7 of their little goslings last year. Hopefully they'll be a little more useful this year. Right, and that was Buffelshoek Dam. Nothing else seems to have come down to drink. This is not very surprising, of course, because we are sitting in a pretty chilly day. It's been fairly wind-swept and wind-blown. Now we'll go up through here, see if we can find something interesting. Sean, you're sitting in Secunda, where I guarantee you it's more dangerous than it is living here where we are. You say, what is the most dangerous animal to find on foot here? Sean, it very much depends on what the animal's doing and in what state it is. So, for example, at the moment, the animal that I want to walk into the least would be a buffalo bull. Now, the buffalo, of course, are tremendously stressed at the moment, and that means they're on edge, they're nervous, they've been eaten by lions. Well, sort of 40 or so of them in the last 50 days have been devoured by the Nkahuma pride. And so I think what I don't want to walk into the most right now is a buffalo bull. That's not always the case. I have walked sort of from me to you away from a buffalo bull before. He's just kind of looked up chewing and not worried about me. In normal circumstances, I suppose, depending on where you are, Brian was just attacked by an hawthorn tree. In normal circumstances, I guess an elephant herd is something you want to be very careful of walking into, because, of course, an elephant herd, they can be very protective of their calves. It can be quite difficult for them, and so they can be quite stressed out. So I guess elephant herd and buffalo bull would be the two things that I'd want to avoid the most. Good. All right, well, we're going to carry on looking for small things out here. There's some flowers, but let's head across to Taylor and get an update from her, and we'll join you shortly with something else.
Now, sadly, we're not having much luck with the elephants and the leopards just yet. I believe Brent is on it, and he's managed to pick up some tracks of a leopard. We're not sure who just yet, but hopefully something develops from that. It seems as though Brent is on a roll this afternoon. Now, David, where are we going to look for elephants? Because I want to see them this afternoon. That's very specific, right? David says that there's elephants on Weaver's Nest, so we're going to take his word from it, yeah. And if we don't find elephants on Weaver's Nest, we know who to blame. We'll go down that way, though we're a little bit wee way away from that, but we shall continue and have a look so far. Let's see what's happening around here. But there's thunder coming in, so I wonder if we're going to perhaps get a bit of rain a little bit later. Hey, look at the sky. Oh, I don't know if we're really going to get... Hang on, David. Let me go forward again. I'm going to show you, because there was some nice crepuscular rays shining through the clouds. Where are you? There's the gap. Isn't that lovely? And I think that this is as much of a sunset as that we're probably going to get this evening. Unfortunately, the clouds are coming in thick, and it seems like there's a bit of weather that's coming from the east. So I wonder what's going to happen there, but we'll have to wait until a bit later, I suppose. Right. And I believe that Brent said he thought he may have heard the first woodlands kingfisher. That's quite exciting. Now, sorry, let me just hold on. David, you holding on? Bit of a big dip over there. Now, James, you were saying that you also hoped that we would see some elephants and a leopard this afternoon. That'd be quite lovely. Now, I'm not sure where Tingana disappeared to, though. I'm actually wondering if I shouldn't perhaps head a bit further west and maybe go check that western sector, seeing as though Brent is now down here on the south sort of eastern corner. I think that makes more sense. He's on the tracks this side, and I think Rexon is helping him search. So I think we're going to head probably down towards Mvubu Road. We'll have a check around there and just see if we can pick up on any footprints, because the odd occasion I have seen Tingana, what I have seen, I think 3 or 4 times in a row, often late at night when we're on our way back after the show is finished. I always see him coming down past and going over the cross of the dam wall and then going straight towards Mvubu Road. So maybe we'll go and have a look around there and have a look, because there was definitely nothing at Buffelshoek Dam. And I know James is also there now, and he's been on foot, so he would have easily spotted some footprints, actually much better than what myself or David would have had. Now, I can't believe how quiet it's been. David, you know that we haven't seen one impala yet today? Not one impala. Can you believe it? The most common antelope in Africa is evading us today. So we may have to swing past quarantine as well, because we know that every time we go there, that's where they probably will be. Right. Come on, animals, where are you? Not even an insect, not even a... Not even, I wanted to say millipede and then I wanted to say shongololo at the same time, so you got a mmm. Apologies for that, my stuttering this afternoon, so terrible. James probably would have had a good laugh at that. Yes, at least Kirsty and Louise found it very funny. That's fine, I don't mind, as long as I'm keeping you entertained and making you laugh every now and then, that's fine with me. Now, who have we got sitting on this tree, David? We've got life. We do, we have life, we've got 2 lives. It looks as though, oh, look how cool that is. We have a batelier. Hello, batelier, very easy to identify with the red beak, and it looks as though it's still a juvenile. Did you see that? How it wasn't completely black. And there's somebody else. Now, David, who's that? We're going to have a closer look. That looks like a Wahlberg's eagle. Is it? No, it looks a little bit too big. Maybe that's another juvenile. It's a difficult one. It's quite difficult to see because if you look at its facial skin, it looks a bit grey, but then it looks a bit yellow too. I'm going to have to change my mind there. And I'm going to say tawny eagle. We'll go with tawny eagle. You know, you can... Oh, there you go. I can actually see the tail now that I look carefully. But for a moment, when I first looked at its face, because that's often where I'm drawn to looking, is checking the eye color and, of course, the beak. And initially, it actually looked completely grey, which is typical of a juvenile batelier. But it's not. It's a tawny eagle. It's quite interesting to see the 2 of them sort of in such close proximity. And normally these 2 species of birds, the batelier and the tawny eagle, are often the first ones to spot carcasses on the ground because they fly at such a lower level compared to the vultures. So I wonder if they've found something, or perhaps they're just taking a rest, trying to keep out of the wind. You can see it's very windy out here today as the branches blow around in the background. But I think it's actually quite lovely to see this juvenile batelier. Like I said, even though it's got the red legs and the red facial coloring now, its feathers are still chocolate brown. So it's probably in its last year before it reaches adulthood. It would be nice if we could actually see it take off and open its wings and see how far along that white wing paneling is coming along. But for now, there we go, actually opening its feathers. Can you see the white on the inside underneath its wing? So I think it's definitely in its final stages and almost about to become an adult. So it must be around 5 or 6 years old, somewhere around there. What a lovely bird. Giving itself a good preen. Perhaps they've already feasted on something during the day. There's definitely no shortage around at the moment of food for the various carnivorous species, from the mammals and, of course, right through to the predatory birds. Look at that drongo, though. That drongo is definitely not happy with the batelier and the tawny eagle. You can see that there's the drongo right in the top of the middle of your screen. You can see that batelier was also looking up, just keeping a cautious eye on it. Wasn't that lovely? Thank goodness the saving of the day of the batelier and the tawny eagle, and of course the drongo, who we can't forget. That was lovely. It's always nice to see a couple of birds. Now we're going to carry on along towards the western sector to see if we can find Tungano, maybe some elephants, and well, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you for a little bit, but let's go back across to James and see how he's doing with that buffalo carcass that he had earlier. I wonder if he's not sick.
This is nongonoko, everybody. It's a special kind of a tree, and it's called nongonoko, which means single file. Now, single file, you can see why it would be called that, because of the leaf arrangement here. And Herbert has just told me, I didn't know that this thing had anything interesting about it, but there's a belief around here that if you go fishing, for example, you take a root of this tree with you and you put it on your belt or somewhere like that, And if you catch one fish, then all of the fish will come in single file to the same place that the first fish was. Same thing if you're trying to trap an animal, you'll tie this next to the trap, and if one animal comes along there, this will inspire them through the medium of probably quantum physics, Brian is nodding, to come in single file towards the trap, and you will have a lot to eat forever and ever. It is otherwise known as the dwarf bush cherry, or Meirua parvifolia. Very nice. Now we're just heading through here. We've left Beefleshoek Dam area, and we're wandering through some relatively thick bush. Herbie's just gone up in front. And now, of course, one of the most terrifying plants that you find in America is something called poison ivy, and I think it leaves you with great big horrible welts all over your skin. And Diane in Texas, you want to know if we get these here, if we get poison ivy here, and the answer is no, we don't. There's nothing nasty like poison ivy here, but we do get nettles sometimes, which can give you a little bit of an itch and a scratch, but nothing too bad. Then look at this flower, gorgeous flower called the string of stars, Heliotropum species. And it's one of my favorites because it's one of the first to come out. It's also one of the first that I ever learned to identify, and it's also very easy to identify because it looks like a string of
Stars.
String of stars. Well done, Brian. Excellent job. And there were also some ants living on it, and I suspect that it's probably pollinated by ants. I'm just going to smell it. And it does actually have a smell. Wow. That is actually spectacular. I'm going to put it under Brian's nostril. What does it smell like, Brian?
I don't even know.
It's like honey.
Yeah.
It smells like honey, fresh, delicious honey. And I'm sure that's what attracts, it's probably the nectar inside it that smells like that, and I'm sure that's what's attracting the ants as they pollinate them. That really is absolutely delicious. It's very subtle. You only get it if you stick it right under your nose. So everybody take a very deep breath in.
Fresh honey.
And imagine fresh honey. That is gorgeous. Right, that is the string of stars. Very nice, Brian. Wonderful. On we go. Right, we're going to walk along this game path here and see what we can see. We haven't seen anything in the way of mammals yet. We saw a couple of nyala when we started off. Bad luck, Brian. Careful. Brian, of course, is kind of hindered by a fairly substantial pole sticking out of his back. And this is made worse by the fact that he is so enormous himself. Now, one of the other things, the light is just now spectacular. Brian, how do I look in the light?
Oh, you look fantastic.
Do I look heavenly?
Amazingly
Good.
heavenly.
Thank you. Now, what else we have here is, of course, the baboon's tail, which many of you have seen many times before. But what I think is so interesting is that this will go dormant almost as soon as the soil goes dry. And it's a brilliant plant. It goes flushes green every time there's any moisture. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of winter or the middle of summer. And then as soon as it's dry, as soon as conditions are not good, it goes completely dormant. And little lion cubs love to play with this thing. It's the most wonderful thing to watch. Then there's another lovely flower over here while we're on the theme of flower. And this one here, if I'm not mistaken, is a kind of devil's thorn. No, it's not. In fact, it's something completely different. I don't know what that is. Brian, what do you think? Any idea? Gushe. It says it's something called gushe. Jiwa. Switch. Ah, okay. So it's a kind of a spinach that you can eat, and it's a little bit slimy. I'm just going to taste it. I suspect you're supposed to cook it, are you? I think cooked it might be a little bit better. It's got the texture of a fairly severe sandpaper. Sorry about that. That's disgusting. Anyway, we'll remember gushe, but we'll also remember next time to cook it. I don't know what it is in English, but it's a beautiful flower, and unsurprisingly, it doesn't smell. Normally, only the white flowers out here smell. Very few other flowers smell at all, and that's because the white flowers tend to be pollinated by things like bees or ants that are after nectar. Right, on we go. Gushe. Say it 3 times, Brian. It will help you to remember. Gushe. 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 Good. We'll just carefully make our way through here. Now, if you are on foot in the bush, of course, what you must do is make sure that you know where the wind is blowing. And I haven't been on foot for a while, so I'm just going to test the wind with my ash bag. This was a sock given to me when I was the master of ceremonies at a wedding, Brian, but I lost the other one, so I thought it would make quite a good ash bag. That was a personal story. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, very good. Okay, and what you need to do, so the wind's blowing that way, and the bush is getting quite thick. And so what we need to do is just be a little bit careful as the summer starts to progress, so the leaves get thicker, the bushes get thicker, we walk a bit slower, and we just check what's behind every bush, on top of every termite mound, especially as we were discussing with Sean in Secunda, I nearly said Senegal, Secunda, about the fact that it is a little bit dangerous. Right, now this is very exciting indeed. What have we got there? Okay, right, we're going to carry on going this way, everybody. Brent has got fresh leopard tracks and a drag mark. That's very exciting.
Well, we found the drag marks. I've walked into the drainage. We found karula on a kill. I can't see whether the cubs are there, but very, very exciting. Rex has done all the hard work and got us looking in the right area. And James, but I don't know, James, does James do any work? So James, who's Rexon's tracker, and I used to work together at Londolozi many years ago. Now we're going to try find a way in here. It is a little bit of a difficult spot. Okay, so she was just in here. So what I did, I wasn't feeling particularly brave, so I didn't walk straight into the thicket. I walked up onto the other bank to where I thought the tracks were going and looked down, and there she was, looking up at me like this. I'm like, what are you doing here? About halfway between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams. Let's see if we can get in here. So I spotted her from that tree, and she was looking right at me. There's a cub. I can see one of the cubs. I think we might have to go to the other side, up on top of the bank. And it looks like Shongile. Can you see her there, Jean-Andre? And there's Hosanna as well. Okay, come out and down. That's Hosanna if you come closer to us.
Yeah.
On the ground. Oh, there, yes, there she is. I'm just going to make some space now. Now, karula is... Oh, she's just to the left. I don't know, we might be able to get a spot, just to see her spots. Where are we now? There. There, you can just make out her spots. Oh, barely. I'm just trying to see now. She's feeding at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna try find a spot where we can see a bit better, and also make some space for Rex in here. I think we might have to try find a way to get on top of this bank in front of us. So I'm gonna have to drive out of here for now. It's not a very good spot. Okay, let's try find another way. Rexy, you can come here and I'm gonna try get on top of the drainage there. Okay, time for some tactical driving. Okay, I think there's a way to get up here. Oh, there goes. I nearly fell out. My door opens. It happens quite often. We don't want to get stuck, which I think we are. No. We just got into a weird spot here. There we go. That should be the worst of it. Now, the funniest thing is a lot of people pay a lot of money for tactical driving courses and things like that. Unfortunately, none of them really train you for the rigors of getting into leopard and lion sightings. Okay, watch your head, Jean-Dre. And it is amazing where we are able to take these vehicles. Okay, here we go. We've got to the top. And I'm hoping we're going to have a bit of a better view from up here. Now, this is where I saw karula from very close. I was where this tree is here. No, I was a little bit further away. Okay, let me show you now. Look, he's looking at us from at the bottom of the hill. There's little Shongile. A little bit forward. There she is. What is that madman Brent up to this time? And of course he's got genre, so it's definitely a very strange vehicle. Okay, let's try and get into spot now again. So there's little Shongile. And I'm going to just get you. So I was standing right here. You can even see my boot marks when I spotted karula looking at me. How's that, Chandra? A little bit more? Oh, one branch. Hang on, hold on, Chandra. There's just one. There we go. Are we there? We're there. Okay. Okay, so I just need to chat to Aubrey on the radio quickly. Orbs, I don't know if you're going to get a visual from there. I think the best visual of all of them is to possibly see if you can come around and up onto this side. Copy. Okay, there we go. Success. I haven't been seeing leopard in so long, and I definitely haven't had the joy of coming on to Queen Karula on foot. So very exciting. I'm so happy. Look at her, isn't she a lovely lady? Didn't even snarl at me. And the cubs just looked. And they've got so used to being tracked. Look at that. I can't see what the kill is. Well, Chai Connie says she appreciates us trying to get the great view. Chai Connie, it is my absolute pleasure. I get as much enjoyment out of showing you the incredible animals we get as I do in seeing them myself. So, difficult to say what the kill is. At the moment it's just red meat, and that's Shongile Hosanna. Unfortunately, from our current position, we can't see. It doesn't look like a big kill. It looks like maybe a Duiker or a Steenbok. Well, you can see why I didn't want to walk straight into those thickets. I would have nearly stood on her before I would have been able to see her. I think it's a Duiker. Just go down a little bit, so Jean-Dre, where the fur is. And just zoom in there. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a Duiker. You can see the grey fur, a grey Duiker. Now, with the three of them, I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be finished by tomorrow morning. And poor Karula's going to have to hunt again. Well, Chris says it's good to see Mom getting a good meal instead of the cubs. I'm just trying to see, speaking of cubs, where Hosanna is. It is, and unfortunately, we'd all love to spend all our time with Queen Karula, but she never really looks too hungry. She's such a proficient hunter that I think, even with the hard job of feeding it to sort of bottomless pits, she keeps herself in good nick. Now, as I said, I don't think she's going to hoist this. I think it'll be gone before the opportunity to hoist comes upon her. And it looks like the cubs have had a good meal of it already. If we look at young Shongile down in the bottom of the riverbed, having a good little cat nap with a big belly. Now, the one thing you'll notice, and in all the time we've been spending with Karula, you'll notice that leopards very seldom feed together. And they do that because they are mostly solitary. So it's almost like timeshare at the carcass. When one's done, the other takes its place. Not to say they never feed together, but it is less common. Which is very different from lions, where they all get stuck in. Now, just to end off the nearly impossible tree quiz, I thought I had you all stumped. But, of course, Raisa, well done. Raisa's in Finland, and one of our, I would suppose we could call Raisa Fundi. Now, Fundi is Swahili for expert. She's very sharp on these things, and it indeed was Acacia gerardi, the red thorn. Well done, Raisa. Should we move a little bit back, see if we can see Hosanna, see what he's up to? It looked like he might have moved up towards that little tree. Okay, so while we do that and try to get you a view of the Prince of Djuma, let's go see Taylor and a feathered friend.
I have a very grumpy feathered friend. As you can see, this lilac-breasted roller does not seem to be impressed with the weather that is building up in the distance. It has fluffed itself all up as it's gotten quite cold, and I'm probably going to have to do a similar thing and add a jersey, as it's not nice anymore. David's like, he's got long pants on and a jacket on today. I've still got shorts. I should probably add a jacket so I don't get hypothermia. But isn't this little one lovely? Now I'm hoping that as we sit here, we're going to see it perhaps swoop down and catch an insect. There's been a lot of grasshoppers jumping about. So it'll be quite nice to actually see it do that. But I wonder if its priorities aren't set on just trying to keep warm this chilly afternoon. But we seem to be having lots and lots of luck with the birds today. And it's actually quite funny because this afternoon, just before we went out, Brent and I were chatting as to what areas we were going to go and check. And Brent said to me, he goes, I think I'm going to have a birding afternoon today, and it seems as though the tables have turned completely, and he's having all the luck with the leopards, and I'm stuck with the birds. Not that it's a bad thing. And the impala, yes! We finally found some impala, and we're quite right. They seem to be heading straight over towards quarantine. Let's go have a better look. What do you think, David? And maybe we'll see a bit of that sun. I think maybe we'll get another glimpse of the sunset. We'll try. It's always nice on a sunset safari to actually have a sunset. But we'll see if the clouds play ball this afternoon. Right. And still no baby impala just yet, but maybe we see some. There seem to be quite a few impala around. So we will check them all as we drive along. Let's check these ones. Oh no, I don't know if these impala can have babies, unfortunately, because they're, of course, male impala. And you can see what I mean as to how chilly it's got all of a sudden. You see how they're starting to fluff themselves up. They don't have their slick, beautiful coats that they normally wear. We're going to go forward now to go and have a look at the impala females. Oh, here they all are. I'm going to go up a little bit further forward because there's a couple of groups, so we want to be able to check all the groups from one spot. So we'll go up here to this little junction. Here we go. Now we can see them nicely. You can see them all slowly making their way to the big open plains of quarantine, where I'm sure that they will settle in. Unless we do get a big thunder shower, then perhaps they will go and look for a bit of shelter. But even the boys are looking good again. At one point, the impala males were looking a bit scruffy, but it seems as though they've put on condition. There's all the grass that's come through. Look how green quarantine is. It's like a golf course at the moment, which I'm sure that all the animals will be quite happy about. And isn't that just a beautiful shot? Especially now that we can see the beautiful markings on the rump of that impala, the 3 black stripes. And those are, of course, very much like the round ring on a waterbuck's bum. That is, of course, the impala's follow me sign. But it doesn't look like we're going to have any little baby impala lambs around here, but we'll keep on searching. And let's go back across to James, though, who's found himself a caterpillar.
This, everybody, is a rather spectacular caterpillar. Now, it's now become, obviously, as it's got onto television, it's become highly mobile. It's moving at a great speed. But I don't know if you can see there, Brian. Did you manage to see there? Oh, maybe I'll put it on my hand. Ooh, ooh. It's got sort of these sort of yellow fangs in the front of its head. And I'm sure that's some way of making itself disguised to predators, because they're just decoration. And if we look, I'll try and sort of place it like this so we can look at it walking. Sorry, Brian. But its mouth parts are underneath that. And so it's just purely decorative, that sort of those 2 yellow horns. And I'm sure their purpose is to con potential predators into thinking that perhaps it is a venomous animal of some sort. Don't you think, Brian?
Definitely.
That he's quite an impressive fellow. Now, we found him on this staff, which I had hoped to gather as my latest stick, but I see that it has been drilled into by wood borer beetles, and it is kind of giving me a couple of splinters, and you don't want that from a staff, do you, Brian?
No.
Gandalf's staff never gave him splinters, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just have to sand the thing. Now, what this is called, this is quite interesting. It's called negative geotropia. Yes, negative geotropia. We just can hear some oxpeckers. Oxpeckers, of course, are a warning that there might be some other kind of herbivore here. Could be a buffalo, could be an impala, could be a duiker. Anyway, negative geotropia means hanging upside down, and so this chap is exhibiting negative geotropia. Now, there are some other small things I'd like Brian to show you. They are on 2 small things, that is my calves, and there are some flies there. Brian, would you be so kind as to demonstrate to everybody that I'm being devoured by flies? See that, Brian?
I can.
Now, quite quickly, it's quite a pleasant feeling, but for the one that is now trying to eat the scratch on my right hand foot. Can you see that, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
I'm now going to chase it away. Right, on we go. We're going to leave the staff and the caterpillar over here to get on with life, as it were, and see what else we can see. We've started heading west now because, of course, we want to get to around quarantine, probably around sunset time, just so that we have a bit of time left there in spare, because we don't want to be out here in the dark. So were we to encounter something like a herd of elephants or perhaps a herd of buffalo, then we'd have to skirt them, and that might take a bit of time. So the idea is to be close to home by the time the sun sets. We've got about 25 minutes after sunset before it becomes unsafe to walk. Now, fantastic news that Brent found those leopards. Let's head straight across back to them, and we'll head down into this rather ominous drainage line.
We're still sitting with the Queen as she devours that little grey duiker. We've definitely confirmed it's a grey duiker. Only the hindquarters intact still. There's a chance they might be here still tomorrow morning, but it is quite slim. We can only hope that they are still here. Unfortunately, it's a difficult one for us to see all of the little ones. They are lying up against the bank, so look at that. You can see her claws gripping the carcass in place. Okay, sorry, someone's calling me on the radio. If there's not much nyama yet left, I don't think they're going to be here tomorrow. And Ephraim is just asking how much of the kill was left. Well, there we go. Laura in New Mexico is wondering, do Karula and do the cubs hunt while she's away hunting? And do they eat then? Laura, they do, but it's normally very small things like maybe a dwarf mongoose or a francolin or even some grasshoppers and things, but they will eat a little bit, not much. They are still very heavily reliant on mom to provide sustenance at the moment. Now, it is not impossible that at this age, about 9 months, they can become independent. There is the record of a young male becoming independent because his mother was killed by lions at 9 months old, and he went on to survive as well. So incredible story there. But normally, as I said, with the females, year and a half, they will start looking to spend less and less time with their mother. Males, 2 to 2.5 years, they spend a little bit longer with mom, find it a little bit harder to leave. I'm trying to see. I can hear the bone crunching from here, but I think with the wind it's going to be a bit difficult, Chandra. Yeah, so we can't put the ambient up. We'll just hear, which is possibly not very pleasant. Zoe, you've probably put or hit the nail on the head of something most trackers experience quite a lot. And Zoe wants to know, I think I've... Oh, look, he's displaying. Zoe, I will answer your... Oh no, don't go away! Darn it. There was a southern boo-boo who was displaying, giving that wonderful call. I'll keep an eye on it. He might pop up again. But, sorry, Zoe. Yes, Zoe. It says, do you think it's possible that I've been on foot with leopards many times and not known it? I would say probably more times than I've found them. They've seen me and I've walked right past them. They are incredibly good at camouflaging when they flatten themselves to the ground. Now, just so you know what's happening, I'm just checking both the cubs are still fast asleep on their same spots as they were, so we're going to stick with mum. No, it's gone again. Sorry, that Bobo is giving us a bit of a hard time flattering around us. Remember, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you've got any questions, or if you'd prefer, pop us an email to questions@wildearth.tv. See, she's very alert. Even while she's feeding, she stops, listens every now and then. Making sure there's no potential threat. I can hear something as well, Karula. It sounds like something walking. Could be a buffalo, something big, just off in the bushes, probably about 200 meters from us. You can see she's stopped feeding. I wonder if one of the... No, she's back feeding now. And I wonder if one of the cubs is going to take her place. Oh, she's moving the carcass. It's a male duiker, an adult male duiker. There she is. I wonder if she's looking for a tree to hoist it in now that her and both the cubs are very, very full. Oh, Hassan has lifted his head, that's about it, but we can't really see him from with the camera from where we are. I can just make him out under a porcupine bush. Now the reason she's looking to possibly hoist it now is as we head into the crepuscular time of the day when the hyenas might start maneuvering, although I have forgotten what a hyena looks like. It's so long since I last saw one on Juma. There she goes. Let's see where she's taking it. Okay, let's keep following her. We'll just reverse back. So poor Gendre doesn't twist his spine. I wonder which tree she's going to take it to. How am I behind me? Ah, look at that. She's going to take it to that tambuti. Let's... Hold on, Gendre. I think she's going to hoist it now. Let's get there quickly. There we go. Oh, we're in the perfect spot. She's going to hoist it up the tambuti tree. Oh, we got there just in the nick of time, Gendre. Although she's now waiting after our mad dash. Looks like she's almost an indecision. There we go. No, don't do it on the back side of the tree where we can't see. Just taking a little break before lifting it. Getting her strength up. There we go. There she goes. There she goes. She's looking back. One of the cubs is following her, but we're going to stick on her. It's a lovely, actually a lovely spot to hoist, and it's going to make our life much, much easier. Mine Warp says Karula needs to put it in the tree so Hasana can knock it out. Yes, young leopard cubs are quite good at dropping meals out of the trees. Fortunately for Karula, there are not many hyenas around at the moment. It's almost sitting there going, oh, it's going to be such an effort. There we go. Come on, Queenie. Up you go. There we go. No, she's decided. Not yet. Is it now? There we go. Look at that. She's in that spring position. Her muscles are coiled. There we go, finally. Well done, Karula. Right up in there. How many meters am I getting? 1, 2, 7 or 8 meters up. Now I'm just going to move backwards a little bit so we get that leaf out of the way. Maybe forwards, eh? Back. There we go. Now, Joyce is wondering whether putting the carcass in a tumbuiti tree, which we all know is very, very poisonous, will it affect the meat at all? It won't, Joyce. I mean, she's not getting the milky latex. Oh, to the bottom of the tree, Genre. It looks like, who's that? Hasana looks like he might want to climb up. Or knock it down. What are you up to, mister? Checking where Mom stashed it for later snacking. Although Karula is still feeding, he might not go into the tree while she is. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at him, he's trying to almost spins himself around trying to find the right spot to look at it. And boom, no, he's not going up now. He's going to stare at Mom having a feast because she's eating again. Oh, no, giving herself a clean now. You'll probably find if she lies down or comes down from the tree, Hasana will be up in a flash. And we can hear that, Genre. Very clear, the red-chested cuckoo. Oh, get Hasana again. No, he might jump. He's going to jump. No, he's... Now, Anthony was wondering how high can a leopard jump? Anthony, I've seen Quarantine probably go a good 3 or 4 meters into the air. So I'd probably say that's probably at the limit. He was jumping for a flying bird. Isn't that cute? Come, Mom, come down. I'm hungry again. Almost can't decide what to do. Oh, looking at his sister. He is an exquisitely beautiful young male leopard. Oh, he's just going to lie down and wait for Mom to be finished. So apparently you guys got some incredible screenshots of Karula taking that carcass up the tree. Remember to share them on our Facebook page or on Twitter with the hashtag #SafariLive. Oh, here comes Karula. She's coming down. It always amazes me how agile these... Oh, as I say that, she misses a step. Now, what's Hasana going to do? I think he's going to go up. Well, first he's got to stretch, clean those claws. Let me go forward a little bit for you, Jean-Andre, so that leaf is out of the way for the... Oh, no, sorry. I saw as he did it. Oh, there we go. Up he goes. How did Mom do that? Now what, mister? Oh, you're gonna go that way. Mom didn't go that way. Oh, there we go. Well done. He's got there in the end. Oh yeah, let's go back again. Oh, he nearly dropped it already. Oh, Karula's left and gone back to go bury the stomach. And now let's hope Hosana doesn't drop it. Why are you moving it? It was in a perfectly good spot, young man. Not really hungry, he's just more wanting to play with the carcass. Oh, temperature's dropped a bit, so that noise is just my zip going up. Oh! He stood on a rotten branch. Oh, silly you chap. That carcass doesn't look like it's gonna stay if you hung it on that tiny little thing, mister. Yeah, it looks like he's actually managed to drape it over a vine that's growing in the tree. Now, William is wondering why the Queen would bury the stomach. See, he's not that hungry, he just felt like playing, I think. Yes. Well, William, it's to try stop the smell spreading and attracting creatures like hyenas. There we go. Are you eating now, or are you still still playing? Look at that. Oh, one ear's already been eaten. Oh, careful, don't stand on those dead branches. This is just so special. We're so incredibly privileged to be able to spend the amount of time we do with Karula and her cubs. And it's always that little bit sweeter when you track and find her yourself.
Yeah. No, they say just because the male is always bigger than the female.
Oh, it's so wonderful that they've moved that carcass out of that very thick area out and put it in this wonderful Timbuti tree. Little Shongile is lying down opposite us. I'm sure. See if we can get a view of her if I go forward. And we'll go have a quick check. There she is. Can you get her there, Jean-Andre? Oh, she's right on the ground here. There we go. There she is, just behind that bush there. Fast asleep. I want to go see if karula is bearing that stomach. It could be quite an interesting thing to look at. So let's go back and have a look. So while we get into that position, let's go back and see what Commander Bond is up to.
I'm just still finding flowers, everybody. This one I don't know the name of, and nor does Herbie. It's a lovely yellow flower. Smells like nothing, of course, because it is yellow. And yellow flowers very seldom smell, but this one's a bit of a succulent. If we look at it there, you can see that it's got quite a succulent stem and some succulent leaves, so I'm not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure that it is an annual, like just about all of these plants. Very few of them perennial plants, so they all spend one season alive. They make a fruit like this one here. There we go. Do you see the fruit there, Brian? Sorry. There, do you see the fruit there now? And that beautiful fruit will then disappear into the ground and wait for, it might even come up this season, but most likely wait till the next rainy season. So that's quite interesting. And then if we go over to this thing here, this is going to be a lily of some sort, I'm not sure which, but on it is a very special looking orange beetle. Can you see it, Brian?
Okay.
Brian says that he can see it, and therefore you can all see it too. And it's sitting on this lily, which will eventually flower into probably something quite pretty. The lilies are about to come out. I've seen my first crinum lily, and they're a beautiful sort of candy pink and red, just in time for Christmas, of course. And then there's one other flower here I just wanted to try and show you, and I don't know what it is, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, no, in fact I'm not sure. Herbie, any idea? Herbie says no idea. It's also quite slimy like the gusha, which was that first yellow flower we showed you, and this one is not quite in full bloom yet, and maybe when it gets to full bloom I'll have a better idea of what it is. I'll have to bring the book out here. I've yet to find a book in South Africa that is vaguely competent at showing me exactly what flowers we have here. But, you know, asking around here and there, looking in the books generally gets you the answers that you want. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to show you here. I think it's the... It is the... I'm just wondering if that isn't a small acacia. I don't think so, though. I think this is a devil's thorn plant, and what it will do eventually is to produce these very, very nasty little sort of three-pronged thorns. And if you wander about here barefoot, which you shouldn't ever do, well, what happens is that they get stuck in your feet and you yelp and say bad words. Now, on the move, and very competent at getting thorns out of their feet, the Nkuhuma Pride. Let's go and find out where on earth they're going.
Now we've come across two lionesses. You can see the one here. They've moved away from the pride, and she's calling frantically. I think I can hear a response from a cub. Now, I know how sad this has been. It's been absolutely devastating. I was dreading coming back to the Nkuhumas because it seems as though my floppy-eared girl, my favorite little lion cub, has unfortunately not around. sorry, let me just speak to Mike, I'm not sure. So, we're going to try and see if we can follow her and just see where she's going. Let me just turn the radio down. Now, we're going to try and keep up doing a bit of research on this white mussel disease, and there is an opportunity that these cubs can survive, but the problem is that they need to suckle. They need to stay hydrated. And it's a pity that this has come at this time, because with all this lovely rain we've had, the nutrients in the grass are definitely going to improve. And I suspect that it won't be too long before these nkuhumas would actually be up and running and be fit and healthy again. Now, let's see where she's going to go. Obviously, we can't go down into this drainage, but she's calling frantically. I'm gonna sit here. Now, Aaron, you're wondering how many cubs have we lost. I only counted 4 cubs. Just gonna sit and listen to see if I can hear a response. I can definitely hear something down in this drainage responding to it. I think it'll be very soft for you all to hear. Just down in this drainage line. And it's very sad because you can see how distressed this female is. She's calling. You can see she's definitely not happy about the situation either. And you can see she's also got a bit of a limp. She has an injury on her back just above her tail. Well, I'm not sure what that's from. Maybe from a fight with the Birmingham, or an injury when they brought the buffaloes down last night. And it's just heartbreaking. I really don't even know what to say. It's just that it's nature, and these things do happen. It's quite bizarre. She seems to walk fine, and then she seems to struggle a little bit. I don't know if she's maybe got an additional thorn in her foot or something now, because she was walking perfectly just a moment ago. But now I'm not hearing any more responses coming out of this drainage system. And she will keep coming back. I think they'll keep coming back until the little ones, these cubs that unfortunately seem to have sort of fallen to this drainage system, just until they do slip away permanently. But you can definitely see that they are so distressed at the moment, and it's so sad. But all we can do is just watch. It wasn't a disease that was brought in from an outside factor. It's just one of those things that when you have droughts, there are obviously repercussions. What we'll probably try and do now is very, very thick down here, and it's starting to get dark, so I need to try and get back to the road before darkness falls upon us. And we'll go back to the carcass and have a look at the rest of the pride. And while I do that, I think we'll go back to Brent and see how Karula and her stunning cubs are doing.
Well, they're doing splendidly. Hosana is now starting to feed rather than play with his food. We can only hope the Inkahumas take a turn soon. Fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll know when the necropsy's been done on the cub what is wrong with them. But on happier notes, look how wonderful and healthy the leopards are looking. Now, Karula went to bury the stomach content. We saw her doing it for a second, but she's gone into a spot where we can't really see her. But a little shongile is still there. I think we're going to try get down into the drainage where we can maybe see the other leopards a bit better, because it's not the best view from up here, although it has been the best spot a little bit earlier. Okay, where was it that we dashed up? There we go. That was quite fun. A little bit of technical driving. I'm going to do some more technical driving now. And of course, avoiding sensitive trees like timbuerties and jackalberries, only driving over the fast growing ones. Now, this timbuerty is going to be a little bit harder to avoid. I'm trying to think how we're going to do this. There we go. You got it, Jandre? There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, it is getting quite dark, so we're not going to stay here for too much longer. But fortunately, with this camera, Jandre might be able to work some magic. What do you think, Jandre? Go for Shongile rather? It's going to be quite difficult to get Hasana because of the light. He's in a bit of a funny spot. Yeah, he's still more playing than eating, but he has put that carcass in a precarious spot that it could fall quite easily. Luckily, no hyenas are waiting at the bottom. Okay, well, let's go look at Shongile. I think she's going to be in a slightly better spot for us in this low light. Oh, you're going to fall again, you silly. That's a dead branch. He's standing on a dead branch. And I know a lot of you, and Teresa and many others are wondering whether the leopards could fall for the same disease. Unfortunately, it is possible, but highly unlikely. And it's going to be interesting to find out what it is. But at the moment, these creatures look in perfect condition. Keep standing on dead branches, mister. And there goes a branch. Not he's head-butting that irritating branch out of the way. It was quite an aggressive little headbutt there by the prince. Don't drop it now. It's always just wonderful to sit and watch leopards. Oh, that's the dead branch, don't. He's standing on it again. It's almost like he wants to take a tumble. Oof. Living dangerously, mister. Now, we've seen them go up the tree, and we saw karula come down the tree, and Kristen in North Carolina is wondering how they do. Well, they'll actually climb down forwards, and then they'll jump at the last little bit. But it's possible that they would survive a jump from that high, but normally they come down the tree forwards, and then just the last sort of meter or two they'll leap. Oh, he's back up to nonsense. Oh, well, speaking about, here we go. Kristen, it looks like he might go down the tree to show you. Now, have a look. Or is he going to change his mind? I think he's coming down. There we go. So see how he comes down facing forwards? Is he stuck? That is, yeah, there we go. There you go. Oh. And there we go, the last little bit, the last meter or so, he'll probably jump. Whoop, just like that. Well, there you go, Kristen, that answers your question perfectly, how they come down. But there we go. While it is getting dark and we are in a very difficult area, so Janandra and I are going to start moving out, and while we do that, Commander Bond has some final words for you.
I don't have so many final words as I do so many final animals. A nyala, whole lot of nyalas, whole lot of impala, and we were rather hoping that there might be a little baby impala. Still none of us have seen one around here. Plentiful down in the south of the Sabi Sand apparently, but none up here. Now you will also possibly be interested to know that the woodland kingfisher, not the woodlands kingfisher, woodland kingfisher, was reported on Mala Mala today. Chip, has not arrived back here yet. We're not really sure why. Hopefully soon they will be here filling the air with their cheerful mating calls. Let's have one last look. We're just going to walk slowly along the road here. It is getting dark, which means we're going to get back to camp. We're only about 2 minutes out. But let's walk slowly along here and see if there isn't a lamb in amongst this herd. Brian, do you see any lambs?
No.
Oh, no. I wonder why we do not have any lambs with us, Brian. It's quite late this year, I think. Yeah. And certainly the woodland kingfisher is now late. As of yesterday. Yesterday was the 16th, wasn't it? Very nice, Brian. You're holding that camera extremely steadily.
I'm trying to.
Wednesday was the 16th, and that's when, of course, the woodland kingfisher arrived last year, but he has not come this year at the same time. And I do not see any little impala lambs. Now, if they were just recently born, of course, they would most likely be lying up in some thick bush, and then they would wait until they were sort of steady on their feet. It wouldn't be long. It would probably be about an hour or two before they'd start moving around with the herd, unsteadily at first, and by the time they were 24 hours old, if they'd managed to get that age, then they'd be fine to move with the herd, and they'd be very sprightly and very fast. All right, everybody, that's going to be it from us on the bushwalk here. Brian, thank you for your efforts. Well done to the thumb. And a big thank you to Herbert on foot. Thank you, Herbert.
Thank you.
We'll hand you back to Taylor and her lions, and we'll see you in the morning at 0500. Bye-bye.
Now we've managed to make our way back towards the rest of the pride, and just before we left that lioness that was calling quite frantically, she started to show the most bizarre behavior, and it looks like her muscles were just sort of caving in. So there is obviously a possibility that the adults can contract this white muscle disease. And now I'm very sad to say that these little cubs are not moving around very well either. They're fine when they're walking, but as soon as they get into a dash, they just don't have the bouncy sort of movement that they used to have and what we're used to seeing the nkuhumas have. It looks as though their muscles are, of course, taking quite a bit of strain, which makes me very nervous. And I just hope for the sake of these lionesses that everybody pulls through. But only time will tell, I'm afraid. But let's hope. I think that the nkuhumas have got really good genetics. So let's just hope we've had enough rain at the right time and that we're going to see them make it through. So it looks like the 3 oldest cubs, and it looks like 1 cub from the teddy bear group, the one on the left. Now, speaking about the various diseases, I know that Ali was, of course, wondering if it would be a good idea to test the buffalo to see what diseases come through sort of the winter months. They have a good idea. So they know about foot and mouth disease, tuberculosis, of course, there's anthrax, and a variety of different viruses that can come through. Now, like I said, this white muscle disease, apparently it's not a first time that it's been seen. It's actually been seen around the area, around the surrounding areas of these lion prides going down. And typically the young cubs, of course, unfortunately being affected by it the most. So, yes, it could be a good idea, but I think that they have an idea exactly as to what comes around. This is obviously just the first time for some of us. We haven't seen it. But it's not uncommon, as far as I'm aware, this white muscle disease, or muscular dystrophy as it's also referred to. And you can see straight away it just attacks and it prevents the development of the muscles, not obviously getting the right nutrients, and it's very sad. But let's just keep positive. That's the only thing we can do. We're obviously here just observing. So that's what we can just do. You can just sit here and watch and take notes and learn, but you can see not bouncing around as well as they do now. I just hope that the lionesses unfortunately don't contract this disease. Now, Michael, you were wondering if the health of the buffalo has got anything to do with the health of the cubs, or is it just because of the poor nutrients that the mother is eating and then turning it into milk? No. So it's whether they drink it from the mother's milk, so the poor quality of milk, or if they are feeding also on poor quality meat. Because we've seen that female now, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Is how it almost looked like her back legs were caving in sort of underneath her body, almost like what you see with hip dysplasia. I don't know if any of you have ever had German Shepherds before. I know I've grown up with German Shepherds, and hip dysplasia is something that sort of very much paralyzes larger breeds of dogs. And it's got to do with them feeding on this poor quality of buffalo too. And then, of course, but the cubs are affected by it the worst, because they're not just feeding on the carcass, they're also where maybe they wouldn't get the good nutrients from. Normally they'd get the good nutrients from mom's milk. Now they're not even getting that. It is so tough, but this is nature. This is all we can do, and I keep saying it over and over again. Brent is going to say it over and over again. James and Jamie, is we can just sit here and watch. This is not a disease that was brought in by humans or a dog or anything like that. It's no outside factors. This has come around, and it's pure, it's natural. It's a repercussion of the drought. And I'm going to reiterate it again, just in case somebody has maybe just tuned in for the first time. The diseases are around to keep the carnivores in check. The drought keeps the herbivores in check. It lowers the populations and makes sure that they don't get out of hand. And some way you need to do the same thing with the predators. And it's just sad that it's all just happened at this time. But we'll see. The clouds are big and they're forming in the distance. I think the rainy season is on its way. Now, Marsha, you've asked a very interesting question. You've said, are we certain that the Styx cubs died of mange, or could they have possibly also died of this white muscle disease? there's definitely a possibility. However, just from what we saw, it looked as though the mange completely took over those little cubs. But maybe it was a combination of the two. Maybe the mange really came through and sort of became a lot stronger than what it was because of the white muscle disease sort of attacking the muscles and their bodies not being able to fight it and do anything about it. That's definitely a possibility. But unfortunately, we can't tell for certain unless we do a blood test. Now, we have taken one of the cubs that has passed away. I do want to let you know this, and we are going to send the cub off to Onderstepoort, which is the biggest veterinary sort of university that we have in South Africa. That's located in Pretoria. We're going to send it off and we're going to see what they say. Obviously, we've heard that this is what this is. The vets have seen it already happening this year, and hopefully they'll be able to confirm it. But we'll let you know as soon as we know the exact results, though. But from what we've told them, they've said it sounds very much like what they've already tested. Now, it's getting very dark. I can't unfortunately put any lights on these lions because of the cubs in and amongst that male feeding. I don't want to, of course, blind the cubs and cause any attraction, especially if there's a carcass around here, and with the lions seemingly being a little bit on the weakened side. If a hyena comes through, we don't want to entice that. So no, I thought it was a hyena. It's not a hyena. We're actually going to have to leave these lions now and let them carry on. But what we will do is, I'm sure first thing in the morning, we'll come around here and have a look and have an investigation. Now, I suspect that one lioness has maybe gone for a drink, so maybe we'll actually quickly go and check shortcut the pan on Gallagher shortcut. Let's go have a quick look there. Maybe she's still there, because it wasn't just one lioness. There were two lionesses that moved off. Let me just leave this site. Let me just tell everyone that we're going to leave it. Ooh. Right, I'm going to do a bit of chatting on the Game Drive radio. Oh, and the clouds are coming over quite thick. But let's go see what Brent is up to.
We're in search of nocturnal creatures. Bush babies, genets, civets, servals, who knows what might be around the next corner. The one thing I haven't seen in some time is the white-tailed mongoose. And I'm hoping maybe on quarantine we might find one of the pair that does reside there. They tend to get up quite late, but because it's cool this evening and there's bugs about, so foraging will be a little bit easier, they might get moving a little earlier. Now, of course, I know everyone is very worried about the Nkuhuma cubs and the possibility of karula's cubs also coming down with disease. And so they think it's white muscle disease, and they don't know for sure. But if it is that, karula's cubs would have already shown symptoms because it is from the mother's milk. And they've been weaned for quite some time already. So I think it's very unlikely that if it is white muscle disease, it will ever spread onto karula's cubs. As much as we speculate, I really caution against it, and the only way is going to actually get the facts from the vets, and then a decision and a plan can be made. Now, I know a lot of people are probably not going to want to hear this, but if it is a non-human caused disease and it is a natural disease that occurs in lions in the wild, the policy will be hands off still. It will not get involved. It is not our place to manage the lion numbers and things like that. Nature, in an open system and a healthy system like this, takes care of itself. So as difficult as it will be, if it comes back that it's not a disease that's been brought in by human influence or domestic dogs, for example, nothing will be done. And even if the whole pride does eventually die, that is nature. It is what happens out here, and sometimes it's very sad for us and difficult for us to comprehend. But we have to trust Mother Nature that she knows what she's doing. Now, a lot of all these sort of problems are born from this drought that we've had, and I mean the worst drought in recorded history. Now Shamrock's wondering, will there be any long-term effects on the animals, such as malnutrition and that? Shamrock, strangely enough, the animals that live through the drought and the diseases and stuff like that come back twice as strong. I mean, they're sitting with the best genetic stock. So generally what happens is you actually, now for the next couple of months we're still going to be seeing some effects, animals that might still be quite weak from it, but after the next rainy season you can normally see quite a little population explosion with very good genes, so those animals tend to survive. Now a great example of this is the last big drought was in the early 90s, and the Kruger National Park had about, I think it was 20 or 25,000 buffalo in the Greater Kruger. Now they got really whacked in that drought. The buffalo took far more of a beating in that drought than they did in this drought, and I think the whole population of the Kruger dropped down to just below 10,000 buffalo. So that was, the drought ended in 1994 or 93, and now we jump forward just over 20 years. To 2016, before the drought, the buffalo population of the Kruger Park was 49,000, so double what it was. So their droughts do weed out the weak and promote good, healthy genetic lines in most of the animals. So it is very sad to witness and difficult to witness, but there's method to the Mother Nature's madness. Now, chatting about the end of the drought and the rains, and I'm just going to stop in a second. We've got some spectacularly dark storm clouds are brewing to the west and south, and Elena's wondering how much rainfall on average do we get. So in this part of the Sabi Sands we get on average about 350 mils a year. There we go, look at that, you can see there's some dark stormy skies are brewing. The wind's picking up a little bit, so who knows, we might get some rain overnight. We did hear thunder a bit earlier. And if we pan across to the left, you'll see how dark it gets. Dum dum dum. Ominous skies. Very pretty though. Okay, so there we go. And then about 350 mils. Last year we got about a third of that, and we are probably going to have a normal rain cycle, so anywhere from 300 to 350 mils this year. But you've always got to be careful predicting the weather, because it sometimes kicks you in the teeth. Now, a woodlands kingfisher has been seen just below our southern boundary, but we haven't seen one here yet. I thought I heard one today, but it was quite windy, so who knows, maybe on tomorrow's sunrise safari, the first woodlands of the year for Safari Live might be chirring from the top of a tree. Oh, elephants push down a tree onto the road, round. Now, this is always a good little spot around here for bush babies. So that's one of the reasons I've come to the far western edge of quarantine. It's one of my favorite bush baby haunts at this time of the evening. What a wonderful drive it's been so far. Lions, leopards. Debbie is wondering what my favorite summer arrival is. Is it the baby impala? Is it the kingfishers? Or is it something else? Oof. Debbie, that's a difficult one. I think I've got two. I would probably say baby warthogs. They are just too... There's no other word to describe them, but baby warthogs. Oh, sorry, waterbuck. And I don't even know if we've seen this particular bird. Where's my thingy, my bob? On the live drives, but I see it in the summer months when they arrive at my parents' house, and I don't know where have I put it. I've lost it. Ah, there it is. It is a bird, but it's not a common one. But for some reason, my parents' house, I've seen some really incredible sightings of this bird, and eating, you're not going to believe it, chameleons. So let me just find out where it is. Sorry about this. There we go. A, B, C, D. Here we go. Oh, where's it gone now? There we go. Let's get into the right part of the world. So many birds. I love birds so much. I do enjoy a good birding day, which I actually planned to try have this afternoon, but the windy weather isn't the best. Sorry, I'm trying to get there. There it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. That is it. The African cuckoo hawk. Isn't that a cool looking bird? And one of its favorite foods is chameleons. Or swipe genre, to warn you there. There we go. That's what he looks like when he's sitting. And when he's flying. I'll try to see if there's a... So there we go. This is where they occur, but that's only, if you can see here, that during those months. There's a picture of one. Oh, I do like them so much. They're not a very easy bird to see, and not a bird you see too often. But just for some reason, that reserve where my parents live, I've had incredible sightings of these birds hunting chameleons in the day. The African cuckoo hawk. There we go. And that's probably one of that and baby warthogs are my two favorite summer arrivals in the low veld. So while we sneak past with our lights off past these waterbuck, and we don't want to blind them now, do we? Let's go see what Taylor is doing in the dark.
We're looking for chameleons because I have yet to see my first chameleon of the season, but I think it could be a bit chilly for them this evening. Now, I believe Brent has told you about some of his favorite summer arrivals, and I'm envious that he has chosen little warthog piglets because they are so adorable, and I believe that Debbie was the one who fed the question through, so thank you, Debbie. So I love the warthog piglets too. What's not to love about a warthog, especially a baby? And of course the African cuckoo hawk. Now that's amazing. I've only ever seen one of them before, and that was down in the Eastern Cape, and that was quite a treat. Now my favorite summer arrival, it's a tough one. I don't just have one, funny enough. I think out of the birds, my favorite must be the cuckoo shrikes, the black cuckoo shrikes, which we've been seeing. I absolutely love them. So that's really nice. Like I said, it brings back memories from the Eastern Cape, and I haven't seen them for about a year and a half. So that was really wonderful. I just love everything about summer. The green grass and the green leaves that come with it, all the reptiles that come out, the ones that we haven't seen for quite some time, and then of course all the lovely insects too. And I just feel as though summer is just a happier month, especially for the herbivores. So it's really nice to see them sort of bounding around. And well, if they really could have a grin on the face, I think that they would be smiling that there's an abundance of food around. So that's sort of my favorite thing about summer. I haven't got one specific thing. And of course the warm weather and the days at the beach. That's also quite nice. And we just come up on the dam wall again. I just wanted to have a look in this drainage to see if we can see anything. But nope, nothing down in here. And nothing interesting at the watering hole just yet. You can hear a couple of, it might be a bit windy for you, but there are a couple of water thickneys calling in the distance. But let's go back around to the... I'm going to head around. Maybe we'll see if we can hear them again. They have an interesting call. I quite enjoy the water thickneys, and it's not one that you always see around. They're quite elusive and quite shy, those thickneys. Normally it's the spotted that we come across. Oh, and I've got an insect crawling up my legs. That's nice. Oh, look who we've got. We won't shine directly on this little chap that we've found. We'll put... There we go. I think we've got two of them. I'm going to switch off and I'm just going to try and light up just in front of them. Can you see those two scrub hares? Even their ears look like they're blowing in the wind tonight. Now, even though the scrub hares come out at night, I don't want to put a spotlight on them because they seem to get disorientated quite quickly. And then they run around in zigzags, almost like a deer in the headlights, or they freeze. So we'd rather just keep it off that. And, well, if there's any jackals or any nighttime critters that are perhaps scouring the plains, they'd probably find them quite quickly. Now, I wouldn't want to be, of course, the ones that cause that. But we can have another look at them. They're moving slowly for us, which is quite nice. Now, they're just feeding, catching up on some grass. You can see those big ears listening very carefully. And like we've been saying, it's very, very windy at the moment, so they're going to have to be extra careful tonight as to not get caught by an owl even. It's a dark sky, so there's not even a silhouette for them to see anything coming towards them. So even though owls fly quite quietly, they probably wouldn't hear them coming along. Right, let's see what else we've got. Oh no! Louise just told me that we're coming to the final moments of the show, and I was hoping to find a chameleon for you tonight, but tonight is not the night. Perhaps in a couple of nights' time. But it's been an absolute wonderful afternoon, and we're all devastated by the Nkuhumas, but we can just be there and just send off positive vibes and just hope that they're able to pull through. Now, from myself and David, though, have a lovely day, and I hope you keep nice and warm wherever you may be, and we'll hopefully catch you on the morning sunrise safari. But let's go back across to Brent and see what he's up to.
Alas, the search for the elusive white-tailed mongoose is not looking too good at the moment. But it has been it's a car. Absolutely splendid having you all here with us on this live African safari in the middle of the African bush, and what a day it's been. I have been absolutely treated to a lovely lion sighting and a lovely leopard sighting. What else did we see? 1 steenbok and 3 impala. But it was really nice and always wonderful to be able to track and find your own cat, which is always my favorite thing to do. And look, I see Taylor's lights. Maybe she was also looking for the white-tailed mongoose. I'm going to let Taylor sneak past us, and we'll just have a chat for the last minute of drive. There we go. So, very, very exciting. And of course you had Commander Bond probably being very entertaining. Actually, not probably, definitely being very entertaining as he marched around the African bush. Poor Brian having to keep up with James's frog marching. But I'm sure they had lots of fun. And I know Jean-Dre and I definitely had a great time. Especially for me, the highlight was definitely spending all that time with Queen Karula, Hasana and Shongile. And my personal highlight, getting to see them on foot. Karula looking at me. What are you doing here, you silly man? But it is great. I'm hoping she's still going to be there in the morning. There's quite a bit of food left, not too much. We'll see what happens. But see you in the morning.